December 17th, 1943, 0400 hours, Warsaw, occupied Poland. The sound of an infant crying inside a wooden crate breaks the frozen silence of Lesno Street. Helena Kowalska, 31 years old, nurse identification card, number 7243, kneels beside the box in the darkness. Her hands shake not from the -12-degree cold, but from what she must do next. Inside the crate, wrapped in newspapers, a 9-month-old girl named Sarah stares up at her. Helena produces a small glass vial, liquid sedative, enough to silence the child for 3 hours, enough to pass through 4 German checkpoints. Too much, and Sarah will never wake up. The dosage requires precision she doesn't possess. The margin for error is measured in drops, in milliliters that separate sleep from death. Helena's fingers tremble as she draws the liquid into the dropper. What she doesn't know, kneeling there in the darkness of a Warsaw alley at 4 morning, is that she is witnessing the moment when mathematics became murder, the moment when the equation of salvation required subtracting breath from lungs, warmth from skin, consciousness from innocent eyes, the moment when saving a life meant bringing it as close to death as human hands could measure. Ying intensifies. Footsteps echo 2 streets away. German patrol. Helena makes the choice every night forces upon her. Imperfect action or certain death. She administers what remains in the dropper. Sarah's crying softens, then stops. Her small chest rises and falls. Shallow. Too shallow. Helena places 2 fingers against the infant's neck. Pulse present. Faint. She nails the crate shut with rubber-padded hammer. 12 strikes. Each one sounds like thunder in the silent street. She lifts the box. 11 kilograms. The weight of wood, newspaper, and a life suspended between worlds. She begins walking toward the checkpoint at Zalazna Street. Wooden crate balanced on her shoulder, marked with Red Cross and the word medical supplies stenciled in German. This is her 47th extraction. Before dawn, she will attempt number 48. The Warsaw Ghetto still existed then, though existed is perhaps too generous a word for what it had become. 3.4 square kilometers. 400,000 souls compressed into space meant for 100,000. Density, 118,000 people per square kilometer. By comparison, the most crowded neighborhood in Manhattan held 27,000 per square kilometer. The mathematics of the ghetto were mathematics of impossibility. Daily food ration, 1 HE. 184 calories per person. Human body requires 1,800 minimum to survive. The equation was simple. Everyone inside was dying. The only variable was speed. He didn't yet know she would assume. Began with a woman named Rachella Rosenthal. June 23rd, morning intake. Rachella arrived carrying her daughter Miriam, 4 years old, burning with fever. Scarlet rash across chest and neck. Textbook scarlet fever, treatable with sulfa drugs. But Rachella wasn't from the Polish side. She was from inside, from the ghetto, and the rules were absolute. Jews found outside the walls without papers were shot on sight, their children shot beside them. Wilhelm Braun, German medical officer assigned to supervise the clinic, examined the child with clinical detachment. "Scharlach," he said. "Scarlet fever. Quarantine protocol. Notification to authorities required." He began filling out the form that would send Rachella and Miriam back into the ghetto, back to the section where scarlet fever without medicine meant death in 5 to 7 days. Helena watched Dr. Braun's pen move across the paper, watched him write the address, Ghetto District, Bui, Building 47. Death sentence in bureaucratic language. Something in Helena's chest tightened. Not emotion exactly, more like recognition. The recognition that every moment contains a choice, and most choices look like nothing at all, like standing silent while a pen moves across paper. Strict. She used the magic words. German personnel. German safety. Dr. Braun paused. His pen hovered over the signature line. "Here, we have no authorization for Jewish quarantine in Polish facility." Helena's mind raced. Medical necessity supersedes administrative protocol. Regulation 7-4-B. Public health emergency powers. She was inventing. Regulation 7-4-B didn't exist. But she said it with such confidence, such specificity, that Dr. Braun hesitated. And in that hesitation, Helena saw something she would later recognize as the foundation of everything that followed. German faith in their own bureaucracy. Their belief that somewhere, in some manual, every situation had been anticipated and regulated. RDS. Just recognition between two women who understood what had just happened. Helena had bought 72 hours, 3 days. In the mathematics of the ghetto, 3 days was everything and nothing. Everything because Miriam would receive medicine, food, care. Nothing, because in 72 hours, Dr. Braun would return, sign the transfer form, and mother and daughter would go back to the place where children died of treatable diseases. Formed in Helena's mind, terrifying in its simplicity. What if, in 72 hours, Rahela and Miriam were simply gone? What if the paperwork was lost? What if there was confusion about which patients were transferred when? Helena had worked in the clinic for 2 years. She knew the chaos. She knew how records disappeared, how in the daily avalanche of forms and reports and requisitions, 2 people could vanish into administrative cracks. The plan formed itself. Not a plan, really. Morley. Key recognition of possibility. 72 hours. Get forged identity papers. Find safe house. Make Rachela and Miriam disappear. She had no idea how to do any of these things, but she had 72 hours to learn. Or, rumor was, he knew people who could help. Helena found him on the evening of June 24th. 38 hours remained. Father Zawadzki was younger than she expected. 42 years old, thin face, eyes that evaluated her with uncomfortable precision. "You want to help a Jewish woman and child disappear?" he said. Not a question. Statement. Yes. Why? Helena hesitated. Why? Because standing silent while pens move across papers leads to places she didn't want to go. Because 3-day. Say-go she'd bought 72 hours, and now those hours were running out. Because Miriam was 4 years old and dying of treatable disease was an obscenity. Because I can, she said finally. Everything that happens in medical facilities in this district. Dr. Braun asked around after you left. No one could find Regulation 7-4-B, but you said it with such confidence that he assumed it must exist somewhere. Germans trust their own bureaucracy more than their own eyes. Father Zawadzki leaned forward. That's useful. That confidence. That's the thing that keeps you alive in this work. Not courage, not morality. Confidence. The ability to lie directly to the face of POW. Without flinching. Intenance. Resources. Eternal vigilance. And if I say no? If I let Dr. Braun transfer them back? Then you'll wake up every morning knowing you chose safety over a child's life. Some people live fine with that choice. Most people, actually. But you didn't come here because you're most people. Leaping. Rachela and Miriam awake, waiting, as if they knew. Helena led them through service corridor, out delivery entrance, into alley where Father Zawadzki's contact waited with false identity papers. Christina and Anya Kowalski, mother and daughter, Catholic refugees from Lublin. The papers were impeccable, or impeccable enough. In occupied Poland, impeccable enough was the best anyone could hope for. Helena returned to the clinic at 03:45, altered the logbook, transferred to GE, Nerl ward, then transferred to convalescent facility, then discharge. Paper trail that led nowhere because the convalescent facility didn't exist. At morning inspection, Dr. Braun noticed the missing patients. The Jewish woman and child. Where? Discharged, doctor. Recovered. See logbook, entry 47. He examined the entries. Signed and stamped. Everything appeared correct. To where discharged? Convalescent facility, doctor. Standard protocol. Which facility? Helena felt her pulse. E in her throat. This was the moment. The place where confidence became everything. Facility name listed in logbook, doctor. Entry 47B. There was no entry 47B, but she said it as if there obviously was, as if he'd simply missed it. Dr. Braun looked again at the logbook, embarrassed to admit he couldn't find something that must be there. Yes, of course. Very well. He moved on. Everything. The bureaucracy was the weapon. Not guns, not courage, not elaborate spycraft. Simply knowing that the machine processing 300,000 pieces of paper daily couldn't check every detail, couldn't verify every entry. That confidence could create reality. That the space between must be true and is true was where people could survive. But 2 lives were nothing. 2 lives while 400,000 remained inside the walls, dying of starvation and disease at rate of 5,000 per month. 5,000 divided by 30 days equals 167 per day. Divided by 24 hours equals 7 per hour. Every 8 minutes, someone died. The mathematics were crushing. 2 saved meant nothing against those numbers. Unless 2 could become 4, 4 become 8, 8 becomes 16. Geometric progression. The mathematics of hope. Very straightforward. False papers. Safe houses. Catholic networks willing to hide Jews for money, or conscience, or fear of God. But then came September 9th. A woman named Devorah Goldstein arrived at the clinic carrying her son Jakub, 18 months old, pneumonia, treatable. But Devorah wasn't seeking treatment. She was seeking something else. Take him, she whispered to Helena during examination. I'm sorry. Take my son, please. I'm being deported tomorrow, to the east, to a place called Treblinka. We hear things about Treblinka. We hear no one comes back. No children come back. Please, take him. Helena stared at this mother holding her child, asking a stranger to steal him. I only work with adults. I don't have places for children. I don't know how to learn, Devorah said. Learn how. Because every mother inside those walls will pay anything, do anything, give anything to save their children. You help adults disappear. Help our children disappear. Please. 3 days later, Helena tried. Found a family willing to take infant. But by the time she arranged everything, Jakub's pneumonia had progressed. Untreated pneumonia in 18-month-old is death sentence. 72 hours too late. The mathematics again. Time is enemy. Helena held Devorah as she sobbed over her son's small body. Devorah was deported the next morning. Helena never learned what happened at Treblinka, but she learned enough from the stories, the rumors, the whispers of returning rye, road workers who drank to forget what they'd seen. After Jakub, Helena understood. Adults could wait for paperwork. Adults could hide in attics, cellars, false walls. Children couldn't wait. Children needed immediate extraction. Infants needed specialized care, needed families willing to take them, needed supply chains of food, medicine, documents, needed systems, and systems needed people. Of her own. Anna's vehicle made twice daily runs between clinic and various facilities. German checkpoints waved ambulances through. Who inspects ambulances? Who demands to see what's beneath bloodied sheets in back of emergency vehicle? Anna agreed immediately. My son is 7. If someone occupied my city, trapped him behind walls, let him starve, I would want someone like you to exist. So yes, whatever you need. Second, Jerzy Piotrowski, carpenter, 59 years old. Skills, building fella. Sea-bottom crates, double-walled carts, modified suitcases. He'd been building hiding places for contraband since occupation began. Building them for children was different only in dimensions. Smaller, he noted, measuring interior space. 28 centimeters by 42 centimeters. Enough for infant under 6 months. Larger child needs different approach. Sedation probably. Can't have crying at checkpoints. Arculosis patients. Unofficially teaching Helena which sedatives work on children, which dosages by weight and age, which combinations of drugs induce sleep without suppressing breathing. 3 drops per kilogram body weight, chloral hydrate solution. Effect in 12 to 18 minutes. Duration 2 to 3 hours. But listen carefully. Children metabolize drugs unpredictably. Same dose that sedates one child might kill another. You need to test. You need to observe. You need to accept that you will make mistakes, and some mistakes are fatal. The weight of that knowledge pressed on Helena like physical force. She would be making decisions that killed children. Not enemy soldiers, not guilty parties. Children, innocent, helpless, completely dependent on her calculations, or child as their own. By October 1943, the infrastructure existed. What Helena needed now was access to the ghetto itself, access to the mothers who'd heard rumors that children could be saved if you knew the right people, if you paid the right price, if you trusted strangers with your most precious thing. The underground smuggling networks connected her with Rachel Mendelson, Jewish woman who worked in the quarantine section of the ghetto hospital. Rachel could identify family Go. S being deported. Could whisper to mothers, there's a way. The Polish nurse, Helena. She can take your child outside, can place them with Catholic families, can save them. Maybe. Probably. No guarantees. On duties. Met Leah in the quarantine ward. You'll take her? You promise you'll take her? I'll do everything possible. That's not a promise. I can't promise. I can try. The checkpoints, the guards, the sedation dosages, the families who take her. Any part fails and she dies. Or worse, we both die and she goes back into the ghetto with no one. I can't promise success. Only effort. Leah held Esther tight, kissed her forehead, whispered something in Yiddish, then handed her daughter to Helen. Her name. She needs to remember her name. Promise me whatever family takes her, they'll tell her. Someday, her real name. Esther Rosenberg, daughter of Leah and Isaac Rosenberg. Promise me that. Without looking back, because looking back would break her and she couldn't break. Not yet. Not until Esther was gone and safe and breathing free air outside the walls. Helena carried Esther out in modified medical bag. False bottom. Air holes concealed in red cross emblem. Sedation, 4 drops. Too little and Esther might cry at checkpoint. Too much and she might stop breathing. Helena chose 4 drops. Watched Esther's eyes grow heavy. Checked pulse. Strong. Regular. She walked toward checkpoint. German guard barely glanced at her badge. Purpose? Medical inspection. Typhus monitoring. Anything to declare. Medical waste. Contaminated materials. The magic words. Contaminated. No guard wanted to inspect contaminated materials. Might contain typhus, cholera, dysentery. Better to wave the nurse through. Let her carry her death-filled bag away from healthy German soldiers. He waved her past. Her granddaughter to typhus and ached for small child to fill the silence. One success, but one was nothing. Leah's story spread through the ghetto. Other mothers appeared. Desperate mothers. Mothers who'd heard about deportations from neighbors, who'd heard from cousins, who'd heard from railroad workers. Mothers who understood the mathematics. 0% chance inside the walls versus unknown percentage outside. Unknown was infinitely better than 0. By November, Helena was extracting 3 to 4 children per week. Methods evolved. Variety reduced pattern recognition. Patterns got people killed. Sometimes, wooden crates marked medical supplies. Sometimes, ambulance with false bottom stretcher. Sometimes, laundry cart, dirty linens concealing sedated infant. Sometimes, trash collection, child hidden beneath rotting vegetables. Sometimes, coffins. Empty coffins going to cemetery for burial, except not empty. False bottom, air holes disguised as decorative carvings. Germans respect the dead, Jersey explained. Catholic funeral procession, they don't inspect, would be disrespectful, would be bad luck. He was right. Funeral processions passed through checkpoints with minimal examination. Quick glance at papers. Verification of name on death certificate matching name on transit permit. Wave through. Helena processed 3 children via coffin in 1 week of November, but the coffin method required something else. Teaching children to lie perfectly still, to pretend death, to ignore instinct screaming run when darkness closes in and air grows thin and coffin jostles on cartwheels over cobblestones. 3-year-olds don't have that control. 4-year-olds barely. 5- and 6-year-olds could be taught, could be trained. Helena spent hours in safe houses teaching children the game. We're playing statue, perfectly still, even when you're scared, even when you want to move. Can you be statue? Can you be the best statue ever? Us required breaking them psychologically so they could survive physically. The moral calculus was impossible. Save the child by traumatizing the child, or let the child die with innocence intact. Helena chose trauma, chose life. Chose to live with the nightmares of 5-year-olds who learned to cry in silence. In surrounding villages with new names, new families, new lives built on foundation of lies, and 73 mothers who handed their children to strangers and prayed to God they'd made the right choice. But December brought new problem. The ghetto was shrinking. German authorities liquidating sections, deporting inhabitants east. The rumors about Treblinka were no longer rumors. They were certainties confirmed by escaped railroad workers, by Polish partisans who'd scouted the area, by the Mati. Trains arriving full, trains leaving empty, and smell of burning flesh visible as smoke column from kilometers away. The mathematics were clear. Deportation meant death. Every delay saved lives. Every child extracted saved life. Asking the families she'd already helped. Can you pay? Can you contribute? Some could, some couldn't. Those who could paid. Those who couldn't received help anyway because turning away child for lack of payment was line Helena wouldn't cross. By December 17th, she'd extracted 91 children. But December 17th was when everything changed. When the mathematics shifted from possible to impossible. When Helena learned that saving children would require more than sedatives and coffee, ins and convincing lies, would require something else, something she didn't know she had. Being civilized, pacified, brought into enlightened European order. He examines Helena's papers with excessive attention to detail. Purpose of transit? Medical supplies. Clinic on Grzybowska Street. What supplies? Helena's mind races. What medical supplies come in crates that size? Sulfa drugs, antibiotics, for typhus treatment. Open the crate. Helena's heart stops. I'm sorry? Open. The crate. Inspection protocol. New directive as of yesterday. Thing Helena had planned against but never truly believed would happen. Every system has failure modes. This was hers. Open the crate, and guard sees infant. Sedated infant. Infant who shouldn't be in crate-marked medical supplies. Infant with Jewish features being smuggled out of Jewish section. Penalty for smuggling Jews, immediate execution. For her, for Sarah, for anyone who helped. Officer, the crate is sealed. Opening risks contamination. The drugs are, open the crate or I will open it. Choice is yours. The guard's hand moves to his sidearm. Not threatening, just ready. Just letting Helena know that refusal has consequences. Helena sets the crate down. Her hands shake as she produces crowbar. Begins prying nails. Each nail screams as it pulls free from wood. Each scream might be last sound she hears before bullet. She removes the lid. Sees him understand what he's seeing. Watches him reach for his weapon. This is death. This is how it ends. Not in interrogation room. Not in prison cell. Here. Now. In street at 4 in the morning with infant between them and young German soldier's finger on trigger. But the guard doesn't draw his weapon. He reaches into the crate. Touches Sarah's forehead. She's cold, he says. Very cold. Helena's mind spins. Why is he stating the obvious? Why hasn't he arrested her? The sedative. It low. Where's body temperature? It's normal. The guard looks at Helena. Really looks at her. His eyes are blue, pale blue, like winter sky. My sister, he says quietly. In Hamburg. She has daughter. Same age. Maybe. I haven't seen them in 16 months. I volunteered. Thought I was defending Germany. Thought I was protecting children like my niece from Jewish Bolsheviks. That's what they told us. Protect the children. From infant. From baby. Helena says nothing. There's nothing to say. The moment hangs crystalline and fragile. The guard's hand hovers over Sarah. Then he reaches into his pocket. Produces a chocolate bar. Military ration. Breaks off piece. Tucks it into Sarah's blanket. For when she wakes. Children like chocolate. My niece likes chocolate. He steps back. The crate. It's not properly sealed. Could open during transport. Could spill contents. You should nail it shut. Immediately. He's giving her out. Giving her chance. Helena's hands shake as she replaces the lid. Hammers nails. Each strike echoes through empty street. The guard watches. When she finishes, he nods. Papers are in order. Proceed. Helena lifts the crate. Begins walking. She makes it 5 meters before the guard calls out, "Nurse." She turns. My name is Hans. Hans Muller, Private, 4th Transport Battalion. If you are caught, if you are interrogated, you will tell them everything. Everyone talks eventually. You will lie. They'll tell them about me, about tonight. Do you understand? Helena walks. Doesn't run. Running attracts attention. She walks at steady pace, crate balanced on shoulder, through empty streets of occupied Warsaw, carrying child who might wake or might never wake, carrying chocolate from German soldier who chose humanity over duty, carrying weight of choice that will get him killed when Helena is caught and interrogated and tells them everything because everyone talks eventually. There's Zawadzki waiting. Helena sets the crate down, opens it. Sarah's chest rises and falls. Steady, strong, she's warm. She's alive. Helena lifts her out. Sarah's hand clutches the chocolate unconsciously. Still sleeping. Still unaware that her life was saved twice in one night. Once by stranger who poisons children. Once by enemy who remembered his niece. Father Zawadzki examines Sarah. Healthy. The dosage was perfect. You're getting better at this. Learning. I met guard who let us pass. German. Guard. He knew. He knew what I was carrying and he let us pass. Gave Sarah chocolate. Father Zawadzki's expression hardens. Then we're compromised. If one guard knows, others will know. They'll change patterns. Increase inspections. We need to shut down. At least temporarily. Let things cool. Using. They'll tighten every protocol. They'll make extraction impossible. We have window. Maybe days. Maybe hours. We use it. You're talking about extracting how many children? All of them. Everyone we can reach. Everyone whose mothers will agree. We extract as many as possible before window closes. That's impossible. Logistically impossible. We have infrastructure for maybe 10 children per week. You're talking about 50, 100, however many we can manage before it's over. Father Zawadzki stares at her. You understand what you're proposing? The risk? If we accelerate, we will make mistakes. We will be caught. Not maybe. Definitely. The math doesn't work. German security is too tight. Our resources too limited. You're proposing rapid extraction knowing it will fail. Knowing we'll be arrested. Probably killed. Oh, save 50 more, 100 more. Then we use that window. We extract everyone we can before it closes. We honor his choice by making it matter. By making it save as many lives as possible. And when you're caught, when you're interrogated, when they do things to you that make you tell them everything, then I tell them everything. Everyone talks eventually. You said that yourself. But between now and then, how many children can we save? That's the only math that matters. Father Zawadzki looks at Sarah, sleeping peacefully, chocolate clutched in her small fist. You're right. God help us. You're right. We accelerate. I'll contact everyone. Mobilize every resource. We have maybe 3 days, maybe 4. We use them. Helena nods. 3 days. 100 children. That's the target. 33 children per day. 1 child every 43 minutes. Can we do it? Istical nightmare condensed into single unified chaos. Helena slept 8 hours total across 3 days. Existed on black coffee and adrenaline and mathematical certainty that every minute wasted was child lost. December 18th. 26 children extracted. Methods: 7 via ambulance, 5 via coffin, 8 via wooden crates, 4 via laundry carts, 2 via trash collection. 1 failure. Boy aged 4, sedative dosage wrong, woke during checkpoint, started crying. Helena had to abort, turn him to ghetto. The boy's mother's face when Helena returned him. Pure devastation. Try again tomorrow, the mother whispered. Please. Helena tried. December 19th. The boy, David Mizrahi, came out via modified suitcase, false bottom, air holes in handle, sedation carefully recalculated, success. S suspicious of sudden influx of children in Catholic neighborhoods, increased patrols, increased document checks, 3 near misses, 1 actual miss. Anna, the ambulance driver, stopped at checkpoint, rear compartment searched, false bottom discovered, 2 children found. Anna arrested. Children sent back to ghetto. Anna interrogated. Helena waited for arrest. Didn't come. Anna told them nothing. Gave false story. Acting alone. Thought she could make money smuggling Jews. Would reveal no accomplice. ISIS because none existed. Gestapo didn't believe her. Tortured her for 17 hours. Anna revealed nothing. Died from injuries 2 days later without saying Helena's name. Without saying Father Zawadzki's name. Without revealing the network. Died protecting infrastructure that saved children. Anything. But they know something larger exists. They're looking. We need to stop. 1 more day, Helena said. 24 hours. Whatever we can extract in 24 hours. Then we stop. Then we scatter. Then we go underground. But we give Anna's death 1 more day of meaning. 1 more day of children saved. Helena, they're hunting us. Actively hunting. Every checkpoint is alert. Every guard is suspicious. The odds of successful extraction have dropped to... I don't care about odds. I care about children. 1 more day, please. Father Zawadzki looked at her, saw something in her face. Something beyond reason, beyond calculation. One more day, he agreed. Jing logistics. And Helena moving through ghetto like ghost. Entering, exiting, entering, exiting. Each transit carrying life in boxes, bags, crates, coffins. Each checkpoint a moment of held breath. Each successful passage a small miracle. By midnight December 21st, they'd extracted 117 children total over 4 days. 117 names in jars. 117 lives purchased with Anna's sacrifice and Private Hans Miller's chocolate and Helena's moral C. Calculus that chose trauma over death. Yuka is gone. Christina is who you are now. Catholic girl from Plock. Parents dead. Living with aunt. This story is your life now. Understand? Ruka nodded. Solemn. Too solemn for 7. Children in the ghetto aged differently. Grew up faster. Lost innocence measured in weeks instead of years. Judith kissed her daughter. Be brave. Be smart. Survive. And remember, I loved you. I love you. I will always love you. Mother and daughter embraced. Then Judith walked away. Didn't look back. Couldn't. Helena and Ruka walked toward checkpoint. Different checkpoint. Different guard. Avoiding Zalazna Street because that's where Private Hans Miller worked, and using same checkpoint repeatedly invited pattern recognition. They chose Lesno Street. Guard was older. 40-something. Wehrmacht. Not SS. Wehrmacht were sometimes reasonable. Sometimes. Papers, the guard said. Helena produced her nurse identification. Ruka produced her false Catholic documents. The guard examined them carefully. 2. Carefully. Looked at Ruka, looked at papers, looked at Ruka again. This child. She's with you? My niece. Parents killed in bombing. Plock. 1940. I'm her guardian now. She doesn't look like you. Danger. Helena's mind raced. She looks like her father, my brother. He was dark. Dark hair, dark eyes. I take after our mother. Blonde, blue eyes. Different sides of the family. The guard stared at Ruka. Say something, he ordered. Anything. In Polish. Roar. This was test. This was moment where accent, inflection, word choice revealed truth. Ruka opened her mouth. Helena held her breath. Hail Mary, full of grace, Ruka said, reciting Catholic prayer. Perfect Polish, perfect accent, perfect inflection. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. She crossed herself. Perfect choreography, perfect performance. 7 years old and performing for her life. The guard's expression softened. G. Good Catholic girl. Go with your aunt. Stay safe. He waved them through. Helena and Ruka walked. 30 meters. 50. 100. Out of sight of checkpoint. Then Ruka collapsed. Legs gave out. Fell to knees. Started shaking. Not crying. Just shaking. Whole body trembling. Helena knelt beside her. You did perfectly. You were so brave. So smart. You saved yourself. You saved us both. I was so scared, Ruka whispered. I know. But you didn't show it. That's courage. Courage isn't not being scared. It's being scared and doing it anyway. You're the bravest person I've ever met. Our family now. These are your brothers. This is your mother. You're home. You're safe. And someday, when the war is over, we'll find your real mother. We'll tell her you survived. We'll tell her you were brave. I promise. She left Ruka with the Nowakowski family. Walked back toward the clinic. It was 0830 hours. December 22nd. She'd been awake for 23 hours. Extracted 117 children in 4 days. Watched Anna die. Watched Private Hans Miller make choice that would kill him. Watched mothers hand over children. Watched children learn to lie, to pretend, to become someone else to survive. They knew. They were here. Helena considered running. Considered trying to disappear into alleys and basements and false walls. But running meant abandoning everyone. Running meant the network stayed exposed. Running meant everyone who'd helped would be arrested, interrogated, killed. She walked forward, directly toward the Gestapo officers. Helena Kowalska? The lead officer asked. Yes. You're under arrest. Suspicion of aiding and harboring Jews. Suspicion of smuggling. Suspicion of forging documents. Suspicion of undermining German security operations. Come with us. They didn't handcuff her. Didn't need to. 6 armed men surrounding one exhausted nurse. Where would she run? Eyed before questions even began. It worked. By hour 36, Helena was terrified. Not of pain exactly, of what pain would make her reveal, of the names she'd say, the addresses, the families, the children. Everyone talks eventually. She would talk. Question was only, how long could she resist? How many hours of silence could she purchase with her body? How much time before her mouth betrayed everyone she'd saved? The interrogation began December 24th, Christmas Eve. The irony wasn't lost on Helena. The holiday celebrating a Jewish child hidden from authorities who wanted to kill him. And here she was, imprisoned for hiding Jewish children from authorities who wanted to kill them. History repeating, patterns echoing. Results. Kraus sat across from Helena in interrogation room. Table between them, 2 chairs, 1 light. Theatrical but effective. Helena Kowalska, Kraus said, reading from file. 31 years old. Nurse, employed at Infectious Disease Clinic Sliska Street. Exemplary record, no criminal history, no political affiliations, no suspicious associations, and yet here you are, arrested for smuggling Jews. Care to explain? No, Helena said. No, you won't explain, or no, you didn't smuggle Jew. S. Both. Kraus smiled. Not cruel smile, amused smile. Almost respectful. You understand what happens now? What must happen? I ask questions. You refuse to answer. I apply pressure. You resist. I increase pressure. Eventually you answer. Everyone answers. The only variable is how much damage you sustain before reaching that point. So I'll ask again. How many Jews did you smuggle? D. Communications. We know you smuggled Jews. We know approximately how many. We know some of the methods. What we don't know is, who helped you? Who else is involved? Where are the children now? Give us those answers and this ends. Refuse and this becomes very unpleasant. For you, not for me. I go home tonight. I have dinner with my family. I sleep in warm bed. You don't. You stay here, in pain, in cold, in darkness. And tomorrow we continue, and the day after, and the day after, until you answer. So, who helped you? No one. I acted alone. Kraus sighed. Helena. May I call you Helena? Helena. We both know that's not true. The logistics required to smuggle 100+ children require infrastructure. Safe houses, forged documents, transportation, medical supplies, money. You didn't do this alone. Tell me who helped. I acted alone. Ed. Answers refused. More pain. Different pain. Faces blurring. Voice hoarse from screaming, then silent from exhaustion. Time becoming meaningless. Kraus's voice constant thread. Who helped you? Where are the children? Give me names. Give me addresses. End this. And Helena's answer, when she could still speak? No. When she couldn't speak? Silence. When silence wasn't enough? Screaming. But never names. Never addresses. Never the information that would let them roll up the network. Never the data that would let them find the children. 17 hours purchased with her body. 17 hours for families to hear about her arrest and disappear. To burn documents. To scatter. To hide. 17 hours bought with bones and blood and consciousness that fragmented under pressure but never broke entirely. You've lasted 18. Impressive. Foolish but impressive. We'll resume tomorrow. You should consider, what you're protecting, are they worth this? Are 100 Jewish children worth your life, your sanity, your future? Germany is winning this war. Everyone knows. Resistance is pointless. You're suffering for nothing. For people who are going to die anyway. All you're doing is prolonging inevitable and destroying yourself in process. Think about that tonight. Think about whether martyrdom seer ves any purpose. Tomorrow we continue, and tomorrow I'll be less patient. They dragged Helena back to cell, threw her on floor, left her. Pain was comprehensive, universal. No part of her body that didn't hurt. But worse than pain was knowledge. She would break. Everyone breaks. Question was only when. How many more hours? How many more days? And what damage would remain when breaking came? To ghetto. -2 captured with Anna. Equals 114 children successfully placed. Minus however many Gestapo had already found. She didn't know that number. Couldn't know. But assumed some had been discovered. Assumed some families had been arrested. Assumed some children had been sent back to ghetto or worse. Assumed 20% compromise rate. 23 children lost. 91 saved. 91 lives purchased with Anna's death and Helena's torture and Private Hans Mu. Lear's choice and every volunteer who'd risked everything. 91 children who might survive the war, might grow up, might have children of their own, might become doctors, teachers, artists, parents, human beings with futures. The mathematics justified everything. 91 lives against one life. Her life. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. Even if she broke tomorrow. Even if she revealed everything. Even if they rolled up network and arrested everyone and found all the children. Worth it. Cause those 17 hours gave the network time to adapt. Time to hide. Time to survive. Estion. Then 5. Then 10. Each minute of silence was minute of safety for children hiding in safe houses across Warsaw. Each minute of resistance was minute of life. Kraus grew frustrated, then angry, then desperate. "You're protecting children who are already dead," he shouted. "The ghetto will be liquidated. Every Jew in Warsaw will be deported. Every child you smuggled will be found. Every family hiding them will be executed. You're dying for nothing, for a cause that's already lost. Tell me where they are, and I'll show mercy. I'll let some survive. Refuse, and I'll make sure they all die. Every single one. I'll find them personally, and I'll shoot them personally, and I'll make sure you know. Tell me." Full as warning, then as prisoner. You'll be released with injuries visible, with story known. Everyone will see what happens to people who help Jews. Everyone will know the price. You'll be living reminder, breathing threat, more effective than execution. You'll be released this afternoon. Merry Christmas. He left. 4 hours later, guards opened cell door. "You're free. Get out." Helena could barely walk. They half-carried her to street, dumped her on sidewalk outside prison, left her there. Burn. Oken, bleeding, free. Successfully hidden. 107 lives. Because of you. Because of Anna. Because of everyone who helped. 107. Not enough. Never enough. But something. Small defiance against impossible mathematics. Small victory against machinery of death. Helena recovered slowly. Physically. Psychologically, never entirely. Some things don't heal. Some knowledge can't be forgotten. Knowledge of what pain feels like. Knowledge of what you'll do to avoid it. Knowledge that everyone breaks and yes. He came so close, so terrifyingly close, to being everyone. Lost their birth names and gained Catholic names. 107 children who needed to remember, needed to know who they'd been, needed to be told, "You are Esther Rosenberg, not Anna Wisniewska. You are David Mizrahi, not Stefan Kowalski. You are Rivuka Goldberg, not Kristina Zawadzka. You are Jewish. You are loved. You survived." The war continued. Helena survived. Barely. Injuries healed. Scars remained. Psychological, physical, permanent. She spent remaining war years doing ordinary nursing work, treating ordinary patients, trying to forget extraordinary months when she'd been person who poisoned children to save them, person who taught 5-year-olds to cry in silence, person who made mothers choose between unknown chance and certain death. MP tied. At least the war was over. Helena dug up the jars, 12 jars, 107 names. She began searching for children, searching for families, matching names to faces, telling children, "This is who you were. This is who your parents were. This is why you're alive." Some children wanted to know, some didn't. Some had integrated fully into Catholic families and didn't want to remember Jewish past. Some had parents who survived and wanted reunion. Some had parents who died and wanted nothing. Helena didn't judge, didn't force, simply offered information, offered choice, offered knowledge that someone had cared enough to save them, to risk everything, to bury their names in jars so they wouldn't be forgotten. Aches. We're here to honor Helena Kowalska, who saved 107 Jewish children from the ghetto, who risked her life repeatedly, who was arrested, tortured, nearly killed, who never broke, who preserved the names, who gave us back our identities. Helena, on behalf of everyone here, thank you. Applause. Standing ovation. Helena tries to stand. Can't. Age and old injuries keep her seated. She raises her hand weakly. I didn't save anyone, she says quietly. I tried. I failed. 100. 7 children from ghetto containing thousands. Thousands who died. I saved almost no one. The speaker smiles. Gentle, knowing. Helena, look around. These 800 people, they're the children you saved. And their children. And some grandchildren. You saved 107 lives. Those lives created 6,000 more. 6,000 people alive because you existed. Because you chose. Because you refused to stand silent while pens moved across papers. Faces. Old faces. Children. Adults. Families. 6,000 people who exist because one night in December 1943, she made choice between safety and impossibility. One person stands, then another, then everyone. 800 people standing, some crying, some silent, all living, all breathing, all here because Helena Kowalska decided mathematics of death could be resisted, that 107 was better than 0, that trying and failing was better than not trying, that sometime, as you poison children to save them, that sometimes you teach them to cry in silence, that sometimes you break every rule except the one that matters. You do not stand silent. You do not let pens move across papers uncontested. You do not accept 0 as answer. Helena sits in wheelchair and watches 800 people applaud, watches 6,000 lives she created by creating 107, and somewhere in Church Garden, 12 jars remain buried. Empty now, names reclaimed, but the glass remembers. The earth remembers. The children remember. Helena closes her eyes, sees faces. Sarah clutching chocolate from German soldier. Ryuka reciting Catholic prayer with perfect accent. Esther handed over by mother who walked away without looking back. 107 children who learned to be statues, to pretend death, to become someone else, to survive, and in surviving, to become themselves again, to remember, to live, to create 6,000 reasons why mathematics of death never has F in a word.